Welcome back to the BioCrypt Productions podcast. Oof. Fourth time's the try. Turn.
Dude, it's gonna be one of those, I think.
It's good. Yeah, I'm already fucking up. Well, yes, we're back, and it's gonna be Halloween, spooky season. I'm gonna do spooky sound effects in the background right now. Alan, how you doing today?
I've been better, Derek. I've been better.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of, I feel like an ass after asking the question. Um, well, what games have you been playing lately?
What have I been playing? I went back to the Silent Hill 2 remake.
Nice.
Currently in the hospital section of that.
Fantastic game.
Um, I just got my copies of my physical copies of Tormented Souls 1 and 2.
So
I'll be
jealous.
excited to jump on those. I got like a good chunk of the way through the first one. I haven't finished it yet. So I'm gonna finish that first before I get into the second one.
Those look good.
Um,
I've watched more trailers since we talked about it last, and I'm like,
They
I,
scratch the itch. They
I'm
do scratch
really,
that itch.
I want it. I want it bad, to be honest.
Yeah. They're good. I recommend it. From what I played so far, I'm like, oh yeah, definitely this guy understood the assignment. It's like it's a nice mix of like Resident Evil and honestly like the creature designs a little bit while wildly different. The way they move, like that kind of uh
Unnerving.
independent developer jerkiness reminds me of The Suffering.
Nice. Kind of touches
Yeah.
on what I've been playing. I just got The Suffering finally. Barely cracked into it yesterday. One thing I want to say above all else is I really miss hopping in like specifically like PS2 games and seeing a bonus section and clicking on that and then ending up watching a 45-minute documentary about how bad the prison system was in 19 whatever.
Dude, you know
Like,
how many times I've watched that specific documentary on that
yep,
specific game?
I for, I just like I don't know, that just it feels like definitely a passion project at that point. Like it made me more excited going into playing it. I just got sucked into
Absolutely.
watching it. It made a lot of connections to the enemy designs and everything. It made a lot of connections into I don't know. I even remember them talking about like a real ghost that lives at the guard tower
Yep.
overwatching the field. And then literally
Yep.
within like 10 minutes of the game, if you're listening to the specific radio, you hear a guy saying he's in a guard tower and he's just going to stay up there because he doesn't know what's going on. Anytime he shines lights on anything, they just scurry away. And then he ends up dying. And I was like, I don't know if they were directly referencing that, but it really felt like they were. Because literally the last thing they said about that in the documentary was, I wonder what the last guy saw. Or I wonder what that guy saw before he died, like what made him stay up there. And then they kind of put that little snippet in there. I was like, that's just too
It's
perfect.
yep, yep, and see, that's why it's just those little details that I love that fucking game. One of my favorites to this day.
Absolutely. I'm excited to dive more into it. I did promise Dan that I would play a little bit with him, so I'm kind of not diving too deep yet because I wanted to play that with him. But kind of corresponding to it is that I did also, and I just told you about this earlier, I got my PS2 and my PS5 set up with a recording software, so I can actually make recordings and reviews about my PS games. And then here in the next couple days, I'll get my PS3 set up as well. So 1 through 5, I can play anything and record it, and we're gonna start making reviews about those. So I might go back to my old YouTube channel. I actually did a review on Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Days Gone when everyone hated it. Um,
Oh
I,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I thought they were pretty good, to be honest. So I might bring those back over to the new channel.
I didn't think they were terrible.
I remember being
It
like,
just
yeah, they were kind
it
of
never.
boring.
My gripe with Days Gone is I'm like 90 hours in and I still have like, I like just now got my first bullpup assault rifle. Like it's like, at what point does this game get going? You know?
Yeah, like when do I get the chain machine gun? No, that
Yeah,
game
like
it goes on.
when do I finally like? Is the bitch alive? Is she not? Is Neuro there? Like I still don't know.
I'm a I'm a strong supporter of that game, as you know.
Yeah.
And I would absolutely agree with you that that game goes on far too long. Like it's just stretched a little bit too thin. If they let you do hordes a little bit sooner, it might balance out. But it's just people are excited
Well,
to do that.
and that's the thing is like I've run into hordes, but I have to avoid them because I have so little firepower. I can't really
Yeah,
do anything other than get killed immediately.
and that's what I mean by doing the hordes, because you can actually like destroy the hordes. Like either they're different sized ones too, and like you can kill everything that's in it, and it's like considered cleared. And that's actually one of the funnest things in the entire game to do. But it's strictly end game. You cannot do it until the end of the game. There's just no possibility. There's no way. You need full like MG42s. You need like the top gear. Like Molotovs that are like the top tier. All of that. There's just no way to do it otherwise. And even then, you're still going to die a couple times on some of the larger ones. Um, but it's still just like it's worth it in my opinion. Like getting through the entire game and getting to that point, fantastic. One of the funnest times I've ever had at any game.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's just one of those that sits, and then they came out with the remaster version, and I was like, not even gonna bother, but thankfully they let you carry over your save, so there's at least that. Like I can just pick up the game with slightly better. I forget what they said. It was lighting and performance. Just like the usual upgrade that you get with the PS5 hardware
I
stuff.
still haven't even tried it out though. I would love to. I need to. I need to pop it in and play
Fallout
it.
4 has the same thing, and I highly recommend that one
I
too. The
have
only
done.
thing that's annoying with Fallout 4 is that some of the mods, and I forget which ones it is, some of them very specifically don't work the same, and I think you do have to reinstall all the goddamn mods that you had before.
Oh, so you have to like. That's kind of tedious.
It's annoying, yeah. Yeah.
I did play the Fallout one with no mods, but I did do like the generic like vanilla playthrough with it. I didn't go all the way through yet, but I started working on my Brotherhood of Steel playthrough to get the platinum, updated graphics and stuff, and it does look nice. I did enjoy it. I think I'm still a little bit burnt out. Like after our last episode, we talked about our top games, and I put in like 700 hours into Fallout 4,
Oh,
so
yeah. Yeah.
I felt a little bit like I still don't care enough right now. Like it's
No, Sam, it's been just sitting there. I started a new save with a female character, and I made it to Starlight Drive-In, and I started building a stadium there to make the creatures fight each other, and then I just never that was it.
that's actually
Something
where
with
I
the
stopped.
elevator started jacking up, and then I just got annoyed and put it down.
Mine was I was playing vanilla, so the amount you can build was like jack shit. So I don't know. I was just
Oh, you
like,
can
well,
build a mount? What the hell?
no, like the it limits how much you can build in an area. The amount is like really low, so you can't build
Oh,
like
really?
jack shit.
Well, there's a mod for that too. You can
No, I
that's
know,
yeah.
yeah. And I was just playing vanilla, and I was like, oh, well, that's
Oh,
gay.
gotcha. Yeah, gotcha,
So
yeah. Yeah, it's funny to me that, like, I think if I had to go back to Fallout 4 without mods, honestly, I don't think I could. Like, that game has only kept my attention as long as it has because of the mods.
I'm pretty sure if I turn mods on though, you can't get trophies. And I'm literally going through this last
I
playthrough
forget
just
that
to
you
get.
care about trophies. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't.
just going
I
for that
really
last trophy.
it's about trophies, and I think that's why I've been able to just.
Just enjoy it. Yeah.
I think of all the games I played, if you go to my profile, there's a ton of games on there. I think I literally have only one platinum trophy, and I don't even remember what game it was for.
I think you said that
And
you
I got it
platinum
by
Evil
accident.
Within.
It wasn't even intentional. It was just like,
Oh,
oh, cool.
I thought you said you got Evil Within's platinum at one point.
No, I did all of what I did for Evil Within was I beat it on Akumu. I beat it on all the hard difficulties. I did all the Easter eggs. Like all the things that you can do in game, I've done all of those. I saved the clips for when I got the Easter eggs.
Nice.
All that stuff. That's what I did with Evil Within.
That's cool. That's really cool. I'll have to check out
Hence the
those clips.
200 whatever hours. Yeah,
But
yeah.
hell yeah, man. Well, that's cool. If yeah, like I said, we'll circle back to the Halloween. It's Halloween spooky season. We Alan and I decided, we've talked a lot about horror games, so you guys know we're horror fans. But we're going to talk about the top 3 scariest games we've played. Alan, do you want to start us off? What's your number 3 on this list?
Yeah, number 3. I think it's gonna have to go to. I think I'm gonna go with the original Dead Space as number 3. I remember when that game first came out. I remember you brought over your copy and you showed me some of it, and or I played a demo or something. I don't remember exactly, but I know you had mentioned it to me, and I checked it out, and I was like, "Whoa, this looks really cool." And I finally got my copy for super cheap. It was the greatest hits for like $20, and I remember that it was so nerve wracking. It was so heavy. The sound design was specifically curated in a way where it just brought up anxiety the whole time. Um, I remember having to take like breaks every 15 minutes. Like I would get through a section and like my palms would be sweaty and I pause it and put it down. I'm like, holy shit, okay. Like psych myself up and like save the game, go grab a snack or something, then come back and jump back in. And like that game was like it took me a long time to get through my first playthrough. I remember that there were certain sections where it was like I would sit there like I really don't want to go down that hallway because I know what's gonna happen. I don't want to deal with it, and then I would just like book it, and sure enough, and yeah,
Yeah, that game was one of the first games where like I had to implement a I can only play this during the day because I was younger, and it just
yeah,
scared the shit out of me. Like nowadays, it's the opposite. Like I can only play horror games at night. Um,
same, same,
just too bright. Like I can't
yeah.
do it. But when I was a kid, I had active imagination, and I couldn't play that game at like 9 o'clock at night and then try to go to bed to go to school the next day. Like I'm not going to bed that day. Like that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be terrified.
Hundred
Everything in my
percent.
room is now a necromorph gonna kill me. So
Yeah.
I remember being just the biggest little bitch. That was the first game too that at least for me, I don't know if other games have ever done this, where enemies played dead, and
Yep,
I'm dumb.
yep.
So that wasn't cool. Like I just started walking over
Gotta
them and
prove
then
you.
bad. I'm like, "Fuck
Yeah,
you! I hate you so much."
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, no, it was. I think it was. That was kind of like the first, not the first of its kind, because obviously the Dead Space team borrowed very heavily from Resident Evil 4, as with every action third-person shooter after Resident Evil 4. But it was the first like. It felt like the first of its kind, even though it wasn't. Does that make sense?
It
Like it
did.
felt completely novel.
Yes, it was unapologetically itself while also
And
taking a lot of stuff from a lot of other games.
yes, and I remember that that's when it really clicked with me. It was like cosmic horror. Even though I don't know if that still counts as cosmic horror. I think just because of the setting that it's in space, but I do remember that the space setting. I didn't know it at the time, but it was going to be that it was going to become a staple for one of my favorite settings in horror. I don't think I've played a horror game in space that I didn't like.
That's fair. Chronos. I don't know if that
Like
was in
to this
space. To
day.
be honest, it just feels like it because it's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Yeah. Honestly, too, just for transparency to the audience, we actually both had Dead Space on our list, so I decided to change mine because we wanted to give you some more variety. But we both agree that it's terrifying. Like that's a terrifying game. My number three is probably Resident Evil 7. That to me is the scariest Resident Evil. I think I've thought about it long and hard, and some of the classic ones like Resident Evil 3 is really scary to me. But that's just because when I first saw them, I was a kid. But
Yeah.
when it comes to actual fear induced, Resident Evil 7 did it the most throughout. I don't know if you agree, Alan, or not, but
100% of the Biohazard games, Resident Evil, whatever you want to call them, I think 7 is the scariest. Um,
yes.
we'll touch back more. I'm going to touch back on Resident Evil 7 later because
Okay. I'm
it's on
down for that.
my yeah, it's on my moments, but I would agree that of the Resident Evils, it's definitely the one that it got me the most, and I think it's. I hesitate to say that it's my favorite because the original Resident Evil 2 is still my favorite, but I would say 7 has got to be top 3 easily.
Well, and to be honest too, I actually originally boycotted Resident Evil 7 because it was after their
Really?
slump of like Operation Raccoon City and like some other ones where I was like, I don't really know what they're doing. They're not doing horror though. It felt like, and then
Oh, 6
I did
is
not
the one.
like. I actually liked 6. I'm gonna be honest. That was the last one I
I
liked
did too.
before this.
I
So
didn't I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did.
me neither. I actually enjoyed it. It's not necessarily as good as other ones, but I
No,
thought it got too
absolutely
much
not.
flack in my opinion.
Well, and what I'll say is the same thing I've always said about Resident Evil games is even a bad Resident Evil game is still a good video game.
Yes.
And I think Resident Evil 6 is that.
This might be a controversial statement too, but I think if you're just getting into Resident Evil, 6 is the best one to start with because you get a taste of everything. Like it really felt like they were trying to be like I don't know. I
They wanted to
remember
please everybody.
yeah, it felt like they were trying to do everything they'd done before combined into one game. So that's kind of why it felt so overwhelming, but really you could play that game and know relatively if you're going to like Resident Evil because it goes on all ends. It finds all the extremes from all the different genres. The only thing it really doesn't do is it doesn't like bring back tank controls and fix cameras, but that's you don't want that like not in a modern
Yeah,
game.
I would describe Resident Evil 6 as a master of none, jack of all trades.
Yep, that is a perfect way to go. But it's still fun, great game. But really, it was like the Operation Raccoon City, and then there was like another one that really just I was like, I don't know what they're doing, but I want horror, so I'm not. I just stopped
Yeah.
expecting horror out of them. And also, I've always been a big lover of third person over the shoulder games more than first person. I know immersion
Yeah,
comes more
I'd
so
have to
with
agree
first
with that.
person, but I don't know. I loved Dead Space because of that over the camera and stuff. Like I love
Yeah.
that. I feel like I can look at
It
my
makes you
character
feel more
more.
connected to the character.
Yes, I agree. And so I was automatically turned off when they showed off the first person. I was like, I don't really want to do that. That's not for me. And honestly, it didn't feel like it was going to be as scary. It was like look like a house in the woods, like a bunch of country bumfucks. Like I don't.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
fighting Nemesis and shit. Like what are you talking about? So I just felt like I was like, I don't know what they're doing, but I'm not intrigued. And then I remember being at work one day and I saw this YouTube clip of, and spoiler alert, but Mia grabbing a screwdriver and pinning your hand to the wall, and then coming over with the chainsaw and cutting it off. And I just remember being like, I remember being at work going like, "Yep, once I get off work, I'm going to GameStop. I'm getting this game. Like that's all I needed. That was sold. I have to see that part again. I have to know what the hell's going on because I just that felt like a completely new thing to me. I don't know. That just felt crazy ridiculous to happen in a video game. As losing a limb and shit. Like that felt cool. That I was really sold. So, but we will circle back to this, like you said. I just wanted to mention that one
Yeah.
part. Like I just really wasn't sold on the game to begin with, but it turned out to be the third scariest game I had played.
Yeah.
What's your number two, good sir?
Number two, let's see here. I'm probably gonna have to go with the first Forest game.
Oh, that's good.
Um, and the reason being is I remember playing this on actually with you guys when it was still in alpha, on Andre's PC. I remember I was living with you guys at the lofts or whatever it was called. And I remember I didn't have a lot of experience with survival games like that. So I didn't make it very far. I think after trying, I think the longest I'd made it was like 3 days. I had no idea what was going on. But I do remember that when I quote unquote died, I didn't actually die. I remember waking up in a cave tied to the ceiling, I think it was, and having to crawl my way out. And I remember even it was broad daylight when we were all playing, and you guys were fucking around. I forget what we were doing, but it was broad daylight when I was playing this, and I remember I was terrified. I was like, "What is this? Where gaming is going?" I remember thinking that like games are getting wild, and it finally released on console years later for the PS4, and I remember I played that on single player. And I still remember that first night, not knowing what the hell I'm doing. I remember building the most basic shelter that you could. Um, and I remember I couldn't see anything because at the time I think all you get is a lighter. So I just had a lighter for light. And I remember as I'm trying to figure out, like looking through the book in the shelter, listening to the wind blowing and just hearing the sounds of the forest, right? And then I just hear this rustling, and then I start hearing this giggling. And I remember my mind immediately went to my favorite horror movie of all time, which is the Blair Witch Project. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Um, and I remember it took me back to that. It gave me that sensation of being in a fucking tent and hearing these creatures circling around. And I remember my stomach dropped and my palms got sweaty. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And then these things start scratching at the door and they start pounding against the walls, and I don't know what to do. And I remember I opened the door and I just booked it into the dark. I couldn't see shit. I'm just running for my life. I jumped into the water, hoping that they wouldn't chase me into the water. And I looked back and they were all gone. They had all just left. Like they stopped attacking my structure and they were just gone. And I remember I was sold. I was like, that is the most terrifying thing I've done up to this point. Like,
That's
um,
awesome.
I did go on eventually to finish the game in single player, and I remember it was such a sweat fest for me. That game was. I had to finish that game by river is how I put it. I built a boat on the main river. People who played the game will know what I'm talking about, and that's how I got around. That's how I traveled. I traveled by river because I would park, book it to whatever cave I had to get through, finish the god awful cave, and finish the objective, get back to the boat, get back to base. That's how I finished that game. And yeah,
Oh man,
terrifying, terrifying.
that's awesome though. I still haven't finished that game. I do love a good survival building game too. So that game's scary. That game's so scary.
It's pretty spooky. Sons of the Forest, the sequel, I think it's funny because it's superior in so many ways, and then in other ways it's inferior. It's hard to describe. Like if I had to pick one over the other to play for the rest of my life, I have to go with Sons of the Forest. But there are things in the first Forest that it was lightning in a bottle. Like it just won't ever come back. Namely, that I remember rowing the boat at night with the rainfall, with a skull lamp on my raft, and then rowing by slowly and hearing one of the mutants or the natives or whatever it was doing those weird noises that they make, and then looking over and then a flash of lightning illuminating them standing on the cliffside. Like things like that are what I remember the most about the first Forest. And some of that got lost in the second one.
That's like that natural kind of story building that just accidentally happens.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Now I
Okay.
don't have as many hours into the second one as I do the first one, but um I still, yeah. Anyway.
Well, I'm gonna last minute shift my second choice to Alien Isolation.
Really?
Yeah. I still need to finish that game. I It terrifies me though. It's not even necessarily just the alien, like the robots. Like everything feels so hard. Everything feels so
Oh no, dude, I'm not judging
dreadful.
you. Alien Isolation is I never knew that you I mean you just confirmed that you didn't complete it, but I was about to say I didn't know you finished that game.
No, I did not. I barely made it to the alien, too, to be honest. But I want to get it physical to my collection. It's actually on my to do list. Um, I have it digitally. I technically could play it. I
It's
just
hands down the best Alien game I've ever played, and it's one of the best horror games I've ever played.
I just feel
Now
like
I'm biased because I'm a massive Alien fan, especially that era, like the first Alien. I love that one the most, and Alien Isolation captures that vibe to a T. Like they mastered it.
I'm not necessarily sure if you developed this in me or if I was just naturally going to have it, but I was kind of introduced to Alien because of you for the most part. Um, and it's I don't want to just associate it to like because of our friendship or anything, but I do think it is like genuinely one of my favorite series ever. Like Eileen actually got me the full collection of movies, the old ones. So I
Yeah.
have all of them in this nice little case and everything. I have the Alien figure around my room. I just my little brother actually got me Alien comics, and I don't read comics, so I
Oh,
hung them
nice.
up. But I just that is one of my favorite series as well. And I love they're like my guilty pleasure. Like even people's worst movies of them, I still like. Like even like Alien versus Predator. Like if it has Alien, I'm sold. It's basically
Yeah.
what it is. So
See, yeah, you and I differ on that one. I still hate AVP.
nope, it's cheesy. It's terrible. I'm not gonna say it's a good movie or anything. The second one actually pisses me off because I can't see anything the entire movie. I hate
Oh
how
yeah,
dark that
AVP
movie is.
Requiem. Yeah, it's so bad. Yeah, you don't know
Um,
what's going on. It's just black screen. Yeah.
I feel like if they actually turned up the lighting, I would like that movie too. I feel like it's cool. Whatever's going on, it sounds cool. All the cool action noises. But
Yeah.
hold on, someone's. I'm gonna go check my door real quick. Goku, if you're barking at nothing, I'm gonna beat you like a redheaded. Shut up!
Here we get
Stop!
Derek abusing his animals as he's known to do. For everyone listening to the podcast, send help. I'm kidding. No, he doesn't actually do that.
I know your brother's fucking. You want a dog? I'm just kidding.
No. I'm not what you call a dog person in the strictest sense of the word.
I get that. But yes, back to Alien Isolation. I definitely it's scary enough where I even as a huge Alien fan, I couldn't finish it.
One
Like
of my since we're talking about Alien Isolation and it's kind of coming back to me now. Um, I think I got the art book for it or a guidebook. I forget which one I got. Some Alien Isolation book. It was kind of pricey, but I really wanted it because I love that game. But some of my favorite things about that game aren't even like the hiding from the alien and the fighting the working Joes. Though I love the working Joes, I quote them all the time. Um, like I'll be doing stuff and I'll just say the lines from the game. But the things that I really liked about it is just like the mundane tasks that you do. So when you start up a generator and you have to hit the button and bring the switch down 3 times, or when you save and you stick the disc into the slot and you have to wait for the 3 beeps, like just the little mundane shit that you do is some of my favorite stuff in that game.
It is, and it's so true to the source material.
Exactly. It
Like
feels like some shit that you'd have to do aboard the Nostromo.
it looks, and I know that they like that's one of the biggest things that they said when they were coming out that game. Like they studied the hell out of the original material,
They nailed it. They nailed it.
and they wanted to make sure that like the biggest fans would feel like they're in the movie Alien. Which
That's
that's
one reason I hate IGN to this day is because IGN gave it such poor reviews, and because I mean I'm going to talk some smack here, but gamers are some of the worst fan bases of all time, and they just took that review and ran with it. Like, well, if IGN says it's bad, then okay, it must be bad, and then it just really tanked that
now
game.
it's like a cult classic.
And we're getting a sequel,
Sorry.
evidently at some point.
Okay, what's your number one?
Number one scariest game I think I've ever played: the Silent Hill 2 remake.
Yeah. God, that game's so good.
Um, not every Silent Hill game, but almost every Silent Hill game I've ever played has given me the sensation of dread and anxiety. I just want to make that clear. I remember when I was heavy into the series and going through them and finishing them, and my friends asking me about it, and I would tell them, like, I was like, look, you don't play Silent Hill games to have fun. That's not what these games are. You kind of endure them. You get through them, but they're not necessarily enjoyable experiences. At least that's how it was for me. It was the story being captivating enough where I had to know. I wanted to see what the hell was going on. I wanted to be able to make some sense of what I was dealing with. But no other Silent Hill game in recent memory has given me the sense of dread and confusion and anxiety and disgust that the remake has. And then too, the surprises that they added in the remake. There were certain sections where I went, there's no way that this is where they're going. There's no way that this is what they chose to do. Uh,
So I need to
like
play the
The
original.
Toluca prison, I remember thinking to myself, the last time I saw enemies doing this on the ceiling was in The Suffering. This is insane.
So I need to play the
This
original then, is what you're telling me. The original Silent Hill 2. Because I loved the remake. So to see like what they added or what, like
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. You have to play the original. I would argue that you need to play the originals of every series because they're as good as the remake is. I would argue that no matter how good a remake is, and as much as I gush over the remake, there are things that aren't going to translate, and there are things that are going to be lost, no matter what you do. And Silent Hill 2 remake is no exception. It just so happens that for me, for what I come to Silent Hill for, you know, I think that one translated it the best of the
yeah,
remakes I've seen so far. Now, I
we're
know
just
there are
doing the
people out there
first
that
one.
disagree and that hate the remake, and I fucking feel for you. I genuinely do. I don't know how you can have that take. Yeah, I mean, that game, I remember it had no chill. The remake has zero chill. It is terrifying the entire time. Um, Even the save points, I don't really feel at ease. I just feel like, okay, well, at least if I die, I'll be right here and not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But every encounter, even if you just, because I take that game really slow, I walk, I don't really run through that game. Um, just the sounds, just the environments, the weird shit that's always out of place, the creatures themselves, everything about it is just I can't gush about it enough. I think
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2 remake might be the scariest game I've ever played in my whole goddamn life.
That's awesome. It was honestly way up there for me. I can't agree enough. Like Silent Hill 2 was just also just a beautiful game. Like its horror
Sure.
aspects. Like how well they just nailed every feeling, every moment. I loved it.
I also want to take this opportunity to throw some shade at the Dead Space remake. Um, so in Silent Hill 2 remake, when you get injured, James visibly on his face, he's wincing, he's grunting, he holds his side, he's bleeding, and he kind of shambles around when he's injured, right? In the original Dead Space game, when your rig was red and you were injured, Isaac would breathe heavily and stumble around.
I remember that.
But in the Dead Space remake, that was not a thing. your rig will be blinking red. You have like 1 bar of health, and he's just fine.
Fine. Yep.
I can't tell you how much that annoys me.
A beautiful remake, by the way, too. Like I do really enjoy the Dead Space remake, but I do
I
gotta
still
agree.
recommend it. Yeah, still a good
But
playthrough if
yes,
you've ever played. Yeah, but yeah, some
they sh-
details got lost.
they should at least do an update for that. Like, come on. Like,
I
yeah,
agreed, and they haven't. They have not updated it, and they're still. I don't remember the original being as glitchy as the remake is.
yeah. I guess that's
It,
fair. I don't remember any glitches happening in the original, but I had a couple in the
and yet,
remake.
and yet, the remake has a ton of them.
Yeah.
There's still like to this day, there's a ton of glitches that I'm
I'm
just
like,
like, what are we doing here?
what are we doing here? Okay, well, my number one is Evil Within. I don't think a game has actually ever scared me as much as Evil Within, the first one.
That's
Um,
actually fair.
I went through that game. I did get through it just because it's so compelling and it's so much like it was at a time frame where I was really craving a new Resident Evil that wasn't going the Resident Evil route. Like I said, like it was actually a horror game, so it was kind of filling that scratch that I finally was needing.
Hmm.
So I pushed through, but man, there was so much in that game that just was terrifying. And we'll kind of cover that too, because we're going to cover some moments, some three of our scariest gaming moments next. And honestly, I'm just going to transition into that. That is one of them for me. Is one of the things I can think of the most is running through this. I don't even remember what level it is, but there's like strobe lights going on and like curtains everywhere, and there's these guys chasing you with like that are tied to crosses. Um, and
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
you know what I'm talking about? And I just remember that part. Like I was screaming out loud in real life because that shit was just getting me going. I could not. I was like, I don't know where the exit is. These things won't get off my ass. Everything's trying to kill me. I
If memory serves, I think you're mixing the two games. The curtain sequence, are the curtains you're talking about? Are they red?
maybe
That was the second game.
was it. I thought they were white. So if they were red, maybe. But like I honestly, it's been so long that I'm like I don't remember.
Yeah. No, it's the section you're thinking about in the first one. It's more of an industrial setting. Um, but
That
I
could
do
fit.
remember the crucifix guys being all over the
Oh,
place.
you're right. It wasn't industrial because there was those spinning blade traps instead, right?
Yeah.
I'm not
Yep.
thinking of
Yep.
curtains. I'm thinking of spinning blade traps everywhere.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what it
that was
was.
that
You're
whole trap
absolutely right.
sequence where yeah, that was nerve-wracking as hell. I do remember that.
And I remember that
I
just sent me to
remember
a
the
pimp.
keeper, man. The keeper was everybody's like, "Oh, knock off Silent Hill." Whatever. Shut up. Nobody cares.
If that's
It
knockoff
was one
Silent
of
Hill,
those where
that's
you look
dead
at it and
on.
you go, "That's fine." Even if it is, it's cool. It's a tribute. It's an homage. Shut up. Like
Absolutely. And what he
media
did,
does that. It's okay for that to happen.
that was, I agree, actually. The keeper was, and then I don't remember her real name, but I always called her Spider Bitch. She was
Laura.
fantastic. Fantastic enemy
Laura.
design.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Terrifying. I still dread that sequence. Every time I play the wheel and I was pause it and go, ah, fuck. Here we
here
go
we
with this
go.
shit again.
Because she just comes crawling out of the dead. That's, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's just yeah, it's so nerve wracking, and that was like my one gripe with the second game is when they kind of recycled. Remember that sequence where they recycled all that? I
yeah,
didn't care for that.
I agree because it didn't. I mean, it was a nice homage. If they didn't, I don't know if it felt more like an homage, but it did feel like they were just trying to
Like, hey,
capitalize
remember
on
how
what the
cool this
first.
was? Hey, check this
Yeah,
out.
look,
Yeah,
we're doing it again, you know. And it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it didn't feel like it was supposed to. It didn't feel like an homage. It felt like they were trying to rip off the first one,
yeah. Like
even
they
though,
were just running out of ideas. Like we got to fill this section with some shit. Like we'll just borrow from the first one. It'll be cool.
yeah, because I like the second one too, but it doesn't definitely doesn't hit like the first one.
No, and I love the second one for different reasons. Um, I
Me too.
really enjoy the open world sequences.
Me too. I wish more games would go down that route with horror.
That they need a full-blown open world game that has that kind of horror gameplay, like that kind of Evil Within
I
2
want to put an
horror.
asterisk next to what you just said though, because what I personally mean by full blown open world game, I think is what you equate to as well. But I'm not talking about like I don't want Assassin's Creed Odyssey horror game. I don't want 1,000 hours of it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I just
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it doesn't need to be Elden Ring. It just needs to be a
yeah
big open map where I can kind of okay, do you remember Metro Exodus?
yeah
Those open world sequences, I really enjoyed those too. Something like
yes
that.
like a semi open world. Yeah, I agree with that. Like
Yeah.
big open world sections. I could agree with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, what's your number three scariest gaming moment?
I kind of changed mine a little bit, not necessarily like scariest moment, but like favorite horror moments throughout
Yeah,
my
like,
gaming
yeah.
whatever. I think number 3 is going to have to go to my when I played Alien Resurrection on the PlayStation 1 way back when I was a kid. Because I remember At that point, my room, I had just recently moved it down into the basement of the house I was staying at, and like even though it was already finished at that point, and like it had walls and everything and all that stuff, like it had no longer had that like super creep factor that it did when I moved in there. It was still eerie down there. I don't know how to explain it. Like it just my and you can attest to this, Derek. My houses have always had this vibe of just like eerie. And I remember popping in Alien Resurrection, and I just couldn't do it. Like it was one of those games where I'd be playing it and would be looking over my shoulder constantly, and I had such a hard time getting through that first section because it was surprisingly modern for how it felt. Like the first person shooting, it was kind of it was the first modern feeling shooters that I can remember. In terms of how they handle now, not much has changed from that shooter until now, if anybody can believe that. But it just the sounds, the graphics, the darkness, the aliens, the all of it was just terrifying at that age. And that feeling, I remember that feeling of playing that game and dying constantly, but still like wanting to push forward and see what the hell's going on, and like putting it down and running up the stairs real quick, and going, and then okay, fine, like hyping myself up to go back down there and play a little bit more. Um, One of my favorite memories in the
Experiences.
game.
That's awesome. Um, cool. Well, I guess my number two is going to be the original Dying Light, and it's specifically getting chased at night by volatiles. Um, it's the buildup. They do a great job of like the fact that there's that night day system in Dying Light, and you feel comfortable during the day. You're just getting your missions done, and then that occasional time that you genuinely got trapped outside at night that you just kind of weren't
Yep.
expecting it. Not even just the scripted ones, but the accidental ones. You're just
Yep.
fucking around a little too long at night, and all of a sudden you're pretty far away. Sun goes down, and you're like shit. So you're trying to be sneaky, and you're trying to just do your best. And I'm not talking like later in the game. I'm talking like kind of mid to early game when this happens. And you don't have a lot to get through, and you don't have a lot of skills. Parkour is still kind of hard, you know.
Yep.
And then you set off that
We'll
one
agree with that.
volatile, and you're just running for your fucking life.
Yep.
That's that hits. That makes my heart like those are the times where like I do get if I get to safety or I die, it doesn't matter. I put down the controller and I'm just kind of walking away like what's going on, everybody? Like I need to do something else real quick. That was nuts. Like that hit. So
Agreed.
they
I
did a good
agree. That
job.
Yeah, I don't think any other game has quite captured the night cycle the way Dying Light has. I would actually, uh, oddly enough, the only other game that comes to mind that night is like you don't want to be caught out in that comes to mind is the forest games.
Yeah,
You do not want to be outside at night in the forest.
I could see
And yeah,
that. Uh I haven't really played much of the second one yet. Honestly, it just feels daunting. I'm just kind of over like the huge games, so every time I just want to start to play it, I'm like, oh, ugh. So that's my
yeah,
fault, really. But I've also heard that it doesn't quite hit the same with nighttime. Like even with the night update where they made it darker, people are still saying I mean, it's good, but it's not as good as the first one.
Mm, what I can tell you is that because I've actually finished the second game.
Nice.
Um, what I can tell you from as a massive fan of the first one is it's still a good game. Um, the problem that it has is they kept changing it. Like instead of embracing it for what it is, and okay, like we missed the mark on this, we're just gonna have to roll with it. They kept adding things, they kept changing things, and none of the changes, none of the additions felt cohesive.
Mm.
So, like, if I went back to it now, there's probably things that I'm gonna go like, "What happened here?" Like, I don't remember this at all. Um, the sound design, I remember, um, one thing that they kind of turned up in the second one is from the first one is at night when you're out at night and you just stand on a rooftop and you just listen. It's really cool because you hear people running for their lives, trying to get to safety. Like as night first hits, you can hear creatures mauling people. Uh, that was really cool. And then as night goes on, it gets quieter. It gets eerily quieter. So the stragglers that have, that got caught out in the open, there's less and less of them because they've all been killed. That was really cool. But then the way they handled night outside of that, like they encouraged exploration, quote unquote, at night, right? They wanted you to play the game at night, but it's basically impossible because not only do you have to worry about the volatiles, which I think they should have just kept it at the volatiles because that was like iconic. That was the thing, like, oh fuck the volatiles. Remember in the first one, like that was the
Yeah.
thing. The second one, they just tried to do too much. You had the volatiles, you had the screamers, you had those things that spit green shit that you're supposed to chase. You had the you couldn't do anything. So if you did get caught in a chase sequence, brother, it wasn't scary. It just got obnoxious. It was like there's so much going on the screen, and you're getting jacked up from every angle. You're looking at every goddamn thing. It just got you like it became a chore versus it being genuinely terrifying.
Yeah.
And I think that's my biggest complaint with 2 because 2 is still a good game. It's there are moments in that game where I was like, wow, this shit is incredible, but definitely not as good as the second one. Everybody says that the Dying Light: The Beast is the true sequel to Dying Light.
I haven't touched that yet. Have you?
I haven't either.
Okay, it might be worth checking out then if that's what everyone's saying.
I would
Nice.
take what people say with a grain of salt, but I think I'll pick it up eventually. Another thing that annoys me is I don't think you can get it physically. I think you can only get it
Oh,
digitally.
no, then I'm okay for right now because I'll just
Yeah, see,
wait.
that's
I'll
where
wait a
I'm at.
year or two and see if they do a physical release because
Yeah,
sometimes they
that's
do
that's
that.
where I've been. That's where I've been. It's like, all right, well, I don't care that much anymore.
Yeah, I lose a lot of interest when I can't. Honestly, my wife and I recently got her hooked on Pal World, which is like Pokemon but way better. It's what Pokemon should have been doing. In fact, Nintendo's suing Pal World because they're so mad about how well Pal World's doing Pokemon better than they are.
Yeah.
Um, and my wife got hooked on it recently, which is like you can like make machine guns and your pals can hold machine guns and like you could do a bunch of shit. It's hilarious. You can enslave people. You can capture other trainers and make them work for you.
Yeah.
Um, so we've been playing that, and I keep like kind of mentally falling out a little bit because I can't get a physical copy for the PlayStation. Just like this makes me less interested. Just automatically, I'm like, man, as much fun as I'm having, I
Yeah.
don't want to play it. But what's your number 2 for the scariest moments?
I'm gonna have to go with Condemned 2.
Nice.
And the reason being is because Condemned 2 was the first PS3 game I ever played. And I never played the first Condemned. Um and I didn't really know what it was. I just remember, if you can believe this, it was me and my dad. We went to Circuit City when Circuit City was still a thing, and they were going out of business, so everything was super cheap. And I remember one of the few games left on the shelf was Condemned 2, and it was like $5. It was cheap as shit. And I asked him, "Hey man," and I remember grabbing the cover and looking at it and seeing the scratched-in lettering and the people on the door. It reminded me of that movie Seven. And then reading the back, and it was some angry dude with a pipe, and it was like use brutal weapons like toilet seats, pipes, and prosthetic limbs and shit like that. And I was like, "Oh, cool, this looks tight." So he got it for me, and I remember I popped it in, and I remember I think I started at like 9 o'clock at night, and I don't think I put it down until 2 in the morning, and it was terrifying. That first level, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" There's like tar creatures coming out of the wall, and you're hallucinating, and the TVs are shutting on and off by themselves, and just all that cool stuff that I'd never seen in a horror game. I'd always wanted to, like that more psychological aspect of horror games. He was an alcoholic. Um, just like the deeper, darker subject matter that I hadn't seen
It
too
was
often in games up to that point.
your first exposure
Um,
to it.
yeah, and then I remember later on in the game, spoilers, but like some of the craziest things I'd ever done in a game up to that point were in that game. There was a doll factory level where there's literally dolls coming out and exploding, and you can, if you kick them over, you can pick them up and use them as weapons. And like the dolls are alive, so like if you use the doll to block, the doll will cover its head and then look around. And just weird shit like that. Uh, there's another level where you get chased by a rabid grizzly bear throughout a cabin.
Oh, I vividly remember you
Oh,
showing me that.
yeah. there's levels where the tar sequence levels, I call them, like tar people are coming out of the walls and out of ceiling sacks and all this stuff, just like creepy shit. And I
Oh
would
man.
my friends over, and Derek, you remember this, and I would make them play the doll level. Do you remember? Do you remember
Yeah.
him?
Yeah. Do you remember?
He was one of the him and Richard. I had them come over, and I made Mike do the doll level, and he was just losing his mind the whole level, like just screaming and fucking. It was great. It was funny to watch. It was cool. And I remember that was one of the games for a while that I would have my friends try a level or two just to see what they thought and see their reactions. And Derek, you remember this, but you and I were playing it one night, late one night, right around when I first got it, and we were doing one of the levels where there's a bunch of ceiling sacks that you had to destroy. Like the objective was, it was a sub objective where you destroy 20 ceiling sacks, and if you got too close, they explode, and a dude would grab you and try to yank you up into the ceiling. Um, and the room that I was in at the time, there was a vent right in the center of the ceiling, and I would always shove like a blanket or a jacket up in there because I didn't want my parents to hear me, like us idiots cussing and all that stuff and all just the stupid shit that teenagers talk about. Um, so I'd always have something dangling from that vent, and I remember I forget what we paused the game or something, and then we both just kind of slowly look over and see that fucking thing dangling, just like jump out of the couch.
Oh man, we were screaming. We were terrified. That thing got us so good. We laughed for like an hour afterwards because it was so weird how in sync we were. It's like we just felt it. We didn't really see it, but we felt it at the same time. We just gradually looked up, like, what's about to kill us? And one of my fondest memories of that for sure. Damn.
Yeah, that was cool. Was that you that I don't know if it was you or if it was Richard that we were playing that game, that one specifically, and we left to go to a gas station nearby, and on our way there was a street lamp, and when we passed underneath it to go to the gas station, it
That
shut
was me.
off.
That was me.
Was that you?
That was
Yeah,
me.
it shut off, and then on our way back, it did the same thing when we passed underneath it.
Yep, that was definitely
Was that
me.
also the same time where we found all that weird shit at that on that playground? There was like little like
Yes!
wicker dolls and shit.
Yeah!
Yeah,
I forgot
dude, that
all
was
about that. Holy
yeah.
crap. You just flooded me with some memories. That was crazy.
Mhm.
Oh
And it
man.
was when we were playing that game too. That
Yep.
was it just added to the like what the fuck, dude.
Oh man, you just made me. I started looking up Condemned 2 on eBay. $13, bro.
Oh
$13.
yeah, it's still cheap. Nobody gives a shit about that game for the
I'm gonna have
dumbest
to.
possible reasons
I
too.
think I need to get it just for that bear sequence, that grizzly bear sequence, is brazened into my brain. Like it's
Yeah,
just.
dude.
You showed me that, and ever since then, I'm like, that's like one of the best like horror sequences in general because it really builds it up too.
I do want to take this opportunity to address the fans of the first Condemned game that hated the second one. I've seen these reviews and these people talking about Condemned 2, and it generally gets negative criticism. People do not like Condemned 2. And they're saying that because it went too supernatural, it went too over the top, that the story sucked, that the voice thing was dumb. Well, I finally got my hands on the first Condemned, and I finally played all the way through it. The first Condemned has the same shit. I had to say that. Oh, there was too many guns. The first one has guns in the first level immediately. You can find a gun on every goddamn level. Criticism null and void. The supernatural shit. Are you kidding me? The first game has supernatural shit throughout the entire game. Every criticism that I've seen towards Condemned 2, the first one has. Yet everybody regards the first one like it's this holy grail. Never understood it. I think you guys are missing out. I think if you open your mind a little bit, you would enjoy the fuck out of that game. That's
So, would you say the Condemned 1 is still a good game though? Like, is it worth picking up and
oh, one
playing?
hundred percent. It's fantastic. It's not as polished as the second one in terms of the melee combat. I think you only have two moves. I think you can swing your weapon, and I think you can kick. I don't think you can do anything else. So you don't have combos or any of the cool stuff that you could do in the second one. Um, that would be my biggest criticism towards the first game. Obviously, the graphics are very dated. The character models look pretty bad, but in terms of the atmosphere, the vibe, and the story, 100% worth the playthrough. Really cool
Absolutely.
game.
That's cool. That's good
But
to know.
I think Condemned 2 just ramps everything up to 100, and I don't see the problem with that. I
Yeah.
think Condemned 2 was the natural progression for Condemned 1, and I'll stand by that statement.
Hell yeah. Like that. Stand your ground. Well, I'm going to state my number one scariest moment, I'd say. And I gotta say, even replaying it and playing it on the remake, it still gets me. But the Dead Space Regenerator, this was my first time running into a creature that doesn't die, really. Like, I guess that's not
Oh,
necessarily true.
yeah.
But
Resident Evil 4 had it.
yeah, I didn't get that far, though, back then. I actually beat Dead Space and got to that Regenerator and beat that before I got to Resident Evil 4's Regenerator.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So,
Damn.
whatever they're called, I forget the alien looking mother truckers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Regenerator, I don't know. I was getting confident. I was feeling kind of cocky with Dead Space, and it's not even like you run into the first one about like halfway through the game, you know.
Yeah,
But
chapter 5, I remember.
you're not even like, so it's not even. It's like a third through the game. Um, but I was like cut its limbs off, and I remember like chopping it into just a torso so fast and
Yeah.
being so proud of myself, and then watching it wiggle and just kind of badoosh, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. Like, and then just not knowing what to do. Like, all my confidence was at 100, and then I literally deflated to 0 so fast. And that sensation just felt so intense. It almost felt good. Like, it almost felt like this is what horror's about. Like, to literally feel that going from 100 to a 0 is so insane. Blew my mind, though, and I just panic, like literally just panicking. I don't even know what to do, and making mistakes because you're panicking. Like, nothing's really caused that kind of sensation in a long time, and to this day, like, things that are kind of similar cause that same kind of panic. Even though I understand more so that now it's a puzzle mechanic, even as like an adult, but because of how much the Regenerator scared me the first time, it kind of instills a a deep fear automatically, like, oh no, it can't die. Like, oh, that's actually kind of a good transition. I don't know how far you are in Silent Hill F.
Let me see. Hold on, let me try to remember. I remember I got past that stupid, dumbest puzzle I've ever done in my life.
Well, that guy doesn't die. Like, he comes back. So same thing.
Him. I got past that part. I'm back in the town. That's what it is. I'm back in the town. I'm heading towards some chick's house.
Okay.
But I backtracked a little bit to go to the mailbox. I remember I found a mailbox key.
Yep.
And I went and got that. Those mannequin chicks are all over the place. I fought some giant blob, or I didn't fight it. I think I just ran from it. I think I just did the crank without fighting him.
You said, fuck you guys.
I did that part. And I think right now I'm just headed towards, I don't remember her name. I don't think it's Rinko.
It
like might be Rinko.
Hana or whatever. I forget. Not Hinako, because that's our character, but like Hana.
No, not Hinako. No. I want to say it's Rinko. We're going to Rinko's house. Rinko. Me and that dude who keeps disappearing.
Shu.
Yeah. Which is funny because that's what we call my uncle. It's kind of weird how cultures kind of cross in weird ways, unintentionally. But, yeah. And I got to be real. It's Silent Hill F is going to be one of those where I'm going to have to table it until I'm in the mood, because it's right now. I'm just like okay. What it is I keep comparing it to the remake.
Oh no. Oh.
And which the remake to me is like it set the standard, the gold standard, and I have to keep telling myself Silent Hill F is a spin-off. It's trying something new. Like, give it its due. You might feel differently by the time this whole bullshit's said and done.
I will say, the
combat is just pissing me all the way off. I hate the inventory system. I hate it because, okay, Silent Hill has never made you manage your inventory system. They went the opposite way of Resident Evil. We're not going to make people fumble around with a fucking inventory system because that's not the point. Silent Hill F was like, hey, you know what would be cool if we give them 10,000 gummy bears that they have nothing to do with. And it just, so my inventory's like full of like candy bars and stupid shit. So I can't pick anything up. And I'm constantly having to go back to those little shrine things. And then the combat is just so irritating. It's just, oh my God. And so I'm going to have to just leave it alone for
table
now.
It. Well, I will say that's like, if you do it correctly, like, and you do go and do it with the right mindset, like you were talking about, I think you're going to enjoy it. Because Eileen and I did finish it. I think yeah, with the right mindset, it's a good game.
Oh, you beat it already?
We did beat it. We beat it like 2 days ago, actually. My one big complaint personally is the ending kind of felt abrupt. Like me and Eileen both kind of sat there at the end, like that. There's no way that was it. Like what the fuck just happened, you know? That's our one big complaint. So when you get there, please let me know because I'm curious about how you feel about it. I did tell her I was like, honestly, if you walk away from a Silent Hill feeling confused and kind of rotted from the inside, that feels normal.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
I'm
not like
trying
this
to
is
be
a
open
normal.
about it,
Yeah.
but it's not my favorite. I wanted to. You were talking about regenerators. I wanted to touch on something before
Yeah.
we went off on this tangent. So my first regenerator was actually the one from Resident Evil 4, and back on the PlayStation 2. I forgot about this until you brought that up. But I still think that one's the scariest fucking regenerator because that wheezing fucking sound that he does, that weird shit, that
That's so true.
not with that. I could not with that.
I mean, like I said,
Anytime I heard that thing around the corner, I knew I was fucked.
I will say, like, when I finally did play through Resident Evil 4 and actually got to that part, which is funny because now I've beaten that game like 6 times on like 4 different versions. But that part, yeah, it's definitely like it. Then I wasn't sure if it was just because like I have such a deep fear from the regenerator from Dead Space, but yeah, same kind of situation. Like God, you're terrifying. Like get out of here. Stop breathing down my neck.
I hated that thing.
Well, and like the regenerator is kind of creepy because it does that weird twitching when it's kind of growing again. So that's like it makes you uneasy. You know, you're just
And
like,
then, I don't
oh
know if
God.
you've ever been grabbed by that thing, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they censored this too.
but it
But in
eats
the
your head
PS2
off.
version, it bites your fucking head off.
It eats it like from the neck, right? Like it comes in from the
Yeah,
side and like chews
like
it
it
off.
expands his jaw and just swallows your entire head and bites it off.
Yeah, no, that's the game was insane. I it makes you feel different, you know.
I was like 12 years old when I saw that. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
new fear unlocked.
Yeah.
So what's your number one then?
Number one favorite slash scariest is got to be Resident Evil 7 in VR. So, buddy of mine, Trevor, you know Trevor,
Hmm.
he got PSVR and told me, hey man, I got VR and I got these demo discs. Like, come over and let's fucking do this. So we go over there and we're going through the demos. And there was a demo for Resident Evil 7 in VR, and it was very simple. And this was the first time I'd ever been introduced to VR, and I think VR was still relatively new at that time as a concept.
Yeah,
But I didn't know what it meant. I knew you put on a headset and it was whatever, but I didn't know that VR that you're there and that it gives you depth perception. Like,
yeah,
you know what? Does that make sense? I
yeah,
didn't know that that's how VR was. So in the demo is really simple. You're just sitting in a chair in the kitchen, in the baker's kitchen. And I forget exactly what happens, but it's a bunch of creepy noises, and you're just looking around, and you don't know what the fuck is going on. And you see, I think it's Mia crawling around somewhere. Somebody does some weird shit, and then a pair of hands come around your peripherals and cup your eyeballs. And I think that's the end of the demo. And I do remember taking off my headset and going, dude, we need to play Resident Evil 7 VR right the fuck now. And I forget when it was, sometime after that, we got Resident Evil 7 in VR, or I brought my copy over. I forget what it was. And I was dating this chick at the time. And I brought her over. I was like, yo, you want to see this VR shit? It's fucking crazy. So the three of us took turns playing Resident Evil 7 in VR. And I remember, I think it fell onto me, my turn. I had to be the first one to deal with the molded, which is like the normal zombie enemy in the game. Now, I remember I was in the basement, so I was already shitting my pants. And I remember this fucking thing started chasing me in VR, and I remember looking at it and seeing its big ass teeth and how big those things actually are in real life, if that makes sense.
yeah.
And I remember out loud verbally going, "Oh shit." And I remember like I'm jolting out of the chair a little bit because I actually started running and the fucking headset flew off my head and landed on the ground. And I was just like, dude, I'm sorry, but like I was not prepared for that. That scared the shit out of me. Like I've never seen anything like that in my life. They're
Yeah.
laughing asses off, and I remember I took edibles. So Resident Evil 7 in VR on fucking edibles. And I remember it came my turn. The sequence where you go to I think it's a farmhouse or a greenhouse or some shit,
Mhm.
and you hear something like there's a noise going up top, and you're climbing up the stairs, and you've got your shotgun, and you're creeping up the stairs. I remember creeping up the stairs very slowly, like waiting for this bitch to come out, thinking she was gonna pop out from the top of the stairs, say some shit, and run away. This chick burst through the glass, through the window next to me, where I wasn't even paying attention, and then crawls up onto the fucking walls and the ceilings, and you know what I'm talking about, the
Yeah,
baker lady. I forgot her name,
yeah.
but it's her,
Margaret.
Margaret, and she's crawling around on the ceiling, and you're shooting her with a shotgun. And I remember I was cooked out of my mind, and I remember for a second, because I was so high and it was VR. For a second, I forgot that I was in a game. Like for a moment there, it became real. So my I have cotton mouth. My palms are sweaty. I'm trying to kill this fucking thing. I'm terrified. To this day, I think Resident Evil 7 VR is the scariest and the craziest shit I've ever done in a video game.
I wish
Like
I was
hats off to
there.
Capcom for that one. Genius.
Isn't 8 in VR as well now? It wouldn't
It
be as.
is.
The only thing that would scare
I
me in
think
that one would be the baby sequence, I think.
I think it's PSVR 2. Yeah, that's the one sequence I remember creeping me out in that game.
Maybe the werewolf section in the very beginning, like just being in the village and trying to survive that.
That one wasn't that bad because I knew what they were doing. I knew they were trying to relive Resident Evil 4, so I kind of knew what to expect.
Yeah, I agree, and just wait it out. I remember thinking the same thing. But it was still fun. I will give it that. It's not like
It
it's
was
a
a good
bad
game.
game. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
still
it was a
fun.
good game, but I didn't walk away nearly with the same sensation I did with Resident
7.
Evil 7.
Yeah, yeah. Well, shit. Okay. I think was that it. That was our top 6, whatever. For
I think
that.
so. Did you do yours?
Yeah, because I went first on the second set, like the gaming
Oh,
moments.
okay. Then yeah, I think
So mine
that's it.
was generator. Okay. Well then, the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about was me and Alan were talking, since I got my PlayStation stuff set up, we're going to start making some reviews on older games, like games we think need modern reviews, some 2025 perspective for new gamers. And we want to have you guys kind of tell us what you think he should review. You want to see the Resident Evil OG, the original Silent Hill, or Twisted Metal? Please comment below what you think would be best. Let us know what you think. Maybe I can set up a poll if I'm smart enough. I don't think I'm smart enough, but I can try. Just comment. That's probably the best bet. Um, but thanks for coming back, Alan. Appreciate you for episode number 4.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Definitely like, subscribe, follow us on social media, do all the stuff, please, so that we can get paid for this, so we can keep doing this. If you like this, do the cycle. That's what we're saying. And have a great rest of your day. Happy Halloween. Stay safe.